makes me so happy, man. How is it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got another review. Today we're going to be reviewing this 2010 Nissan R35 GTR. Now this is a pretty awesome review today because this thing is far from stock. I mean, it might look stock on the outside, but you'll see later on what I'm talking about. But just to go over some quick facts about the regular R35 GTRs, they actually debuted in 2007 at the Tokyo Motor Show as a 2009 model year. So this is, you know, only the second year that the R35 was basically around. And back then it did originally beat out the Porsche 911 Turbo with a time at the Nürburgring of 7 minutes and 38-second hot lap time at the Nürburgring. So Nissan definitely came back with a vengeance with the reintroduction of the GTR. Obviously they stopped production of the R34, I believe in 2001 or 2002. So when they came back out with this car, they definitely wanted to make something that stayed true to its history and definitely performed extremely well. Now this car is actually really special to me because the owner is actually a really good family friend of mine, and he originally got this car I believe in like 2011 or 2012, but like as soon when it was basically like brand new, he got this car. And I'll probably edit in the picture right now, but there's actually a picture of me and the owner back in like 2011 2012 when I was like a kid, and we were at the track with it. And yeah, it's pretty funny because again, like, it's just the car has changed a lot, and me personally, I've changed a lot. But yeah, this thing, I've always loved this car. So it's really awesome that I'm getting to film this car and drive this car today. Now that being said, guys, you can probably tell on the outside, but this is the pearl white factory paint color, and there's carbon accents all around the car. I really like the kind of like black and white theme that this owner's going for. All of it's like OEM style, like this grille right here, the front lip, that's all carbon fiber. Going around the side here, you can see the side skirts, they're all carbon fiber. And then coming around the back, you have the carbon fiber diffuser going around the four exhaust tips, and also this carbon fiber rear spoiler, which is again the OEM style, but it just ties in the car really well. And also it goes really well with these Volk TE37s on this car. And these Volk TE37s are finished off in kind of like a darker gunmetal color, but they look really awesome. And they are actually 20-inch wheels, and on the back they're wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires, and they're 335s by 30 by 20s in the rear. And it is a staggered setup, so coming along to the front, they're actually 285s by 35s by 20s in the front. And now starting to get into some of the modifications that this owner did do to this car. So you could probably tell that it also does sit a little bit lower from factory, and that is because the suspension is completely different. I believe there's Swift Spec R springs with an Ibex suspension and SPL camber kits both in the front and the rear. And going on to the brakes, they're actually the factory calipers, but underneath the rotors are actually Alcom rotors, and I believe HPL Hawk pads, performance pads. But overall, I do really like how this car looks from the exterior. But now we're actually going to start talking about the engine and the drivetrain, and this is where the fun really begins with this car. All right, so now moving on to the engine bay of this car, and this badge right here, Yeah, that's what gives this car all the power. Just the badge though, has nothing to do with the engine at all. Obviously guys, I'm joking, but underneath the hood you can see the 3.8 liter twin turbocharged double overhead cam VR38 DETT V6 that this car actually came with. Now the original power numbers for this 2010 factory model was actually a 485 brake horsepower at 6,500 RPMs and 424 foot-pounds of torque at 3,200 RPMs. And what's really special about these engines is that all of them are actually hand built by only 4 specially trained mechanics called Takumi Craftsmen. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but again, yeah, they're like on a special assembly line at Nissan's Yokohama plant, and their names are actually badged on every single R35 GTR engine that they build, which from factory, I mean, that makes it special to begin with, because Nissan definitely puts a lot of R&D and a lot of special care into these GTRs, because the GTR name has a lot of heritage and meaning behind it. But now moving on from the stock power numbers, the current numbers and the current way that this car actually sits at, on a 93 pump gas, it's actually 980 wheel horsepower, which is insane. It's just under 1,000 wheel horsepower and 700 foot-pounds of torque. But when it's switched over and running on ethanol or E85, it's right at 1,170 wheel horsepower and right a little bit over 1,000 foot-pounds of torque to the wheels, which is absolutely mind-blowing. And the reason that this car is making that much power is that this engine was actually completely rebuilt right at like 89,000 miles. And also a big part of that rebuild was the HKS GT1000 Plus kit that's actually on this car. And to anyone who might not know, the HKS GT1000 Plus Turbo Kit is pretty much a kit that's just under 10,000 US dollars, but it comes with HKS OEM style oil lines, coolant lines, every exhaust gasket, turbo gasket, and washers needed for the install. And they're all like cast pipes as well, no bent pipes with this kit. Cast method adapters, inlet piping, cast steel exhaust manifold, which are really good exhaust manifolds, and they're machined equally all the way through. I know you can't really see them under all the stuff that's in this engine bay. There's also, of course, the matching HKS exhaust manifold gaskets. It also comes with cast titanium downpipes, which originally come with high flow catalytic converters, but the owner and the shop that actually built this thing, or rebuilt this thing I should say, just took the cats out, so it's running catless right now, which is awesome. And then of course other simple things like the air filter and foil for like heat shielding for underneath the engine. And then finally, the big ticket item that does come with this kit is the actual turbos, and they are the completely in-house manufactured HKS GT2 8267R twin turbos that really builds a lot of boost and delivers a lot of power through this engine. And then pretty much the only thing you can really see from the top here is the 2 HKS wastegates on both sides. And finally, this HKS GT1000 Plus kit actually comes with custom HKS engine mounts. So yeah, this kit obviously entails a lot. I'm sorry if I missed anything. If I missed anything and you know more about this kit, let me know down in the comments below. But moving on, this turbo kit is actually rated for right at a little over 1,200 brake horsepower at 7,400 RPMs and 1,480 Newton meters of torque, which is pretty much just under 1,100 foot-pounds of torque at just over 4,500 RPMs. And the max boost that they recommend is actually around 32 psi, but the owner has said that sometimes when he's on ethanol, it almost reaches up to like the high 30s, even close to 40, which is absolutely insane. Also diving into the engine, he does have forged pistons. They're 9-3-10 Manley pistons, and the connecting rods are Alpha Performance connecting rods. It also does have a HKS intercooler that kind of ties in the whole turbo kit. This engine also does have Tomei camshafts inside of it, and it was all tuned at IV Tune in Linden, New Jersey, and it has an 8,500 RPM redline. Now, also you could probably guess, because I said it before, but this car is tuned for flex fuel, and it has a complete flex fuel system. So stainless steel lines all the way back, Ecotech flex fuel tune, and also 2 Walbro 450 fuel pumps. And those 2 fuel pumps paired with the 1300cc injectors and the different fuel rails definitely pumps a lot of fuel into this engine. Also, it is running a 12 injector configuration right now, which is another really cool thing. And this engine actually delivers all its power through the 1G custom transmission that is actually manufactured by Ivy Tune in Linden, New Jersey. And also just a couple more things about this drivetrain. Hopefully I didn't miss anything, but it has an AMS oil cooler, SPS rear differential, and 1 through 6 PPG gears, so gears from PPG. The drive shaft going back is stock, and that's pretty much it that I can think of. Everything on this car is completely touched and messed with and modified, and probably the thing that I love the most about it is when you close the hood, again from the outside, this thing looks bone stock. I mean, it has the different wheels, it's sitting a little bit lower, the exhaust is obviously a lot louder than factory, but besides like the different carbon bits and the things that I just mentioned, to someone who might not know any better, they would just think a stock R35 GTR, but this thing is insane. All right, so before I actually take this R35 GTR out for a drive, I just want to start it up and show you guys this cockpit. It's a little bit rough on the idle, you can tell, because again, this thing is just absolutely nuts. Also, the owner does have a radar detector, so if that goes off during the driving part, I apologize. I'll try to edit it out. And in here you can see the infotainment and everything that comes in all the R35 GTRs, but I believe this one was actually the premium trim level when he got it, so it has the Bose sound system and all the different things like that. And actually one of the more recent modifications that this owner did to the car, and really not a major one, but I do really like this carbon fiber steering wheel. It definitely looks really cool. And also I did just want to show you guys the mileage. This thing is at 123,000 miles, a little bit over that, but yeah, it's really impressive how well this thing is taken care of. But anyways guys, now I'm actually going to take this thing out for a drive and show you guys my initial reactions. All right guys, so now I'm actually driving this GTR, and a little spoiler alert, again, the owner is my really good family friend, so I've actually already driven this car, so I already kind of know what it's capable of. And today we're actually on 93, you know, pump gas, so we're only around 980 wheel horsepower, but here we go. Oh my god, man, this thing is insane. Oh, it's crazy too. And I'm in manual, and going from first to second, I read that up all the way up to 8,500, but then second to third, I didn't even go that high. Holy shit. Oh man, this thing is nuts. What's insane too is that, like, right there, when the tires are cold, this thing will actually spin all 4 tires, which I've never felt in any other vehicle ever. Yeah, needless to say, as far as I guess straight line speed is concerned, this is by far the fastest car that I've actually driven on the channel. The only thing that I guess could kind of come close to this that I've driven is the Porsche GT2 RS, maybe the C706 Hellcat, stuff like that, but again, this is like 500 horsepower more than those things, which is nuts. Oh man, I don't know if you guys are picking up all the different noises, but the wastegates sound amazing, the turbos sound nuts, and this thing is just ridiculous. And thinking back to when I first drove this car, one thing that really took me by surprise is how controllable it actually really is. Because I mean, you can go flat out, but this thing can still handle. Oh my god, like, this thing still handles amazing. There's been there have been some cars that I've driven on the channel that are very sketchy, with nowhere near as much power as this thing, or nowhere near as fast, I should say. Oh yeah. Yeah, now that the tires are getting a little bit warmer, it just sticks. Even when the wheels turned, it doesn't matter. That all-wheel drive, it just grips all 4 tires, and it feels amazing. But now you guys can probably tell I'm in a park, and I really can't open it up. But we're gonna get on the highway, and I'll do some pulls for you guys. But honestly, the anticipation's killing me, because I've never actually brought this thing out on a highway before. And I'm actually getting onto the highway and a cop just passed in front of me, so I'm gonna wait here a little bit because that is the last thing I need. All right, I got space. Oh, there goes the tires. Woo! Holy shit! Oh my god! Oh, this car makes me so happy, man. Oh my god. This car is ridiculous. This is like one of those things, and I know I never actually said this on a video, but one thing that's kind of annoying about reviewing cars is that sometimes with like the higher horsepower cars, you start to drive more and more cars and they just don't feel as exciting. This thing, I don't care who you are, this thing is absolutely amazing and a blast to drive. There goes a little downshift. Oh my god. It sounds so good next to the wall too, next to the divider. Oh my god, man. At a loss for words driving this thing too, because it's almost like you can't even really fully open it up, because when you do open it up, you have to get on the brakes immediately. This thing is nuts, man. I know I actually said this with the Subaru WRX Premium that I just did a review on. But me coming from like a naturally aspirated Mustang, driving anything that's all-wheel drive with a turbo, it's just a lot of fun for me. And something like this with as much power that it has, it is just absolutely intoxicating. It's nuts. Teslas might have a lot of torque, and electric vehicles might even be the future, but you can't get this. You know what's funny too? There's probably a lot of like muscle car fanboys out there, and mind you, I love muscle cars. I love all cars, really. That's my problem. But there's probably a lot of muscle car fans out there that would completely discredit this thing just because it has 6 cylinders. Yeah. I don't know what to say to them. Oh man. It's crazy the attention you get to in this car. I mean, again, from the outside, it looks like a stock R35 GTR, but even if it was a stock R35 GTR, you're still gonna get a lot of attention. I mean, there's some people that are trying to speed up and get next to me, or even slow down and get next to me and just like take videos. This car is just an absolute blast to drive. All right, so now I'm taking another U-turn here. Gonna do one last pull, and then we're gonna wrap it up for today. I got a little sideways there. I'm done for today. All right guys, well that's gonna be it for today's video. As soon as I'm done filming this video, I'm actually gonna go back, park it, and do a POV driving video that's gonna be on the channel after this review. So definitely be sure to check that one out too, because again, like being in this interior, it's an awesome feeling. But again guys, if you haven't subscribed already, definitely be sure to subscribe down below, because I have a lot more cool cars coming on the channel in the near future. But like always guys, thank you for all the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one.